First, I apologize because I am not fluent in English, but I try to do the best, okay? So basically, this is what you are going to visit. It's at the city center of this archaeological zone, because this site covered a total extension of 15 square kilometers, including the city center, which was walled by 3 walls. We are between the 2 walls. That is the first, and this is the second. So the 2 walls surrounded 1.5 square kilometers, and that's the inner wall, which links the outer buildings. So in the city center, there are 52 structures, including the biggest and the smallest construction, and just 17 of them have been partially restored. For example, those buildings have been restored because they were found like that one. The huge pile of rocks you see in the background is another building they haven't restored. And this is an aerial view about this place. So now we are here. This is the main entrance, the oval palace, the twins, a platform with 2 stelas, the ball court, and this is the main building. And this is the name of this archaeological site, is balam. So this is a Mayan name composed by 2 words. The Maya is like the English. If you mispronounce a word, it has another meaning. For example, this one, if we pronounce it like ek, means star. But if we pronounce it a little bit long, like ek, is black. And the second word, balam, means jaguar. So it can be translated like black jaguar or bright star jaguar. So the 2 translations are acceptable. And it seems that Ekbalan was the name of the capital of this place, because the original name of the kingdom was Talol. Unfortunately, has not been translated in Spanish. Okay, and this is the map of the whole Mayan area. The Mayan area covered about 350,000 square kilometers, including 5 countries: Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, and El Salvador. And in this country, 5 states: part of Tabasco, Chiapas, Campeche, Quintana Roo, and the Yucatan Peninsula. Now you are in this archaeological site. And this site is considered one of the earliest sites in the northern part of the Yucatan Peninsula, where they began to restore. This site dates back from 600 BC. And they abandoned it after the Spanish conquest in the 1545, more or less. So here, the archaeologists found the 3 periods of constructions: the pre-classic, the classic, and the post-classic. As you know, all the buildings we see nowadays were built in different periods. In every 52 years or when a king died, the new one remodeled the buildings. For example, here, the oldest construction is inside of the main building that dates back from 300 BC. And the facades on the buildings we see nowadays date back from 600 to 900 AD. And in the city center, we are going to see small temples, and those were built in the post-classic, about 11 to 1200 AD. Okay, and as you can see, this site is not well known as Chichen Itza or Coba, because the first excavation began in the 1984. But it doesn't mean that the site was unknown, because the local people knew about it. For example, the nearest village is in the west. It is about 500 meters away from here. So, and then the farmers used to prepare their cornfield around this area. So the Mexican government worked with 2 foreign institutes, the Millsap College and the Tulane University. So they worked for one year and a half. So they restored 2 temples on the south, about 200 meters away from here. But once they discontinued to work, they didn't give maintenance of the buildings, and then the nature took them over again. So it was in the 1994 when the Mexican government took control about the restoration, so they began to work in the city center. Unfortunately, in the 2001 they discontinued to work because the money ran out. Okay, and so this site was very different from Chichen Itza in Coba, because here the people used to live according to their rank. The elite used to live in the city center, and the regular people used to live outside in homes made of palm leaves and wood, like the little shacks on the way in. So we still use the same architecture in order to build our homes. And the middle class people used to live near to the city center, and like they had enough resource, they used to build huge stone platforms, about 1 or 2 meters high, and on the top they built the shacks. And the lowest class people built their homes directly in the ground. So the archaeologists didn't find many evidences, just they found fragments of ceramics and grinding stones. And when the archaeologists explored around the city center, they found more than 7,000 structures. Okay, and so here, besides they used the walls to separate the rank of the people, they used them in order to control the access. The city center was considered sacred, so not anybody had the opportunity to go in. and besides they used them for protection. Because as you know, my ancestors definitely were not peaceful people, they were warlike people. And when the archaeologists partially restored the walls, they realized that this was the original height. It is 1.5 meters high, 2.5 meters wide. So they are not enough height to be used for protection. But it seems that original on the top there was a wooden fence. So the stone wall and the wooden wall used to be about 5 or 6 meters high. So they used to be higher. And as you can see, the entrance is not straight, it's in zigzag way. So it's in order to be difficult the access. So in the city center there are 5 entrances. So each one in the 4 cardinal points, but on the south there were 2. So this is the first, and the second is behind of that building they haven't restored. But this one is considered the main gate to the city center.